I'm like, yeah, Limp Bizkit, that's right. I forgot about that guy. And now I'm like, I've re-chutted myself, you know.
Hello, and welcome to episode 162 of Rhythm Encounter, the RPG fan music podcast. I am your host, Mike Salbato, and today we are going to be talking about Nintendo music, and not only Nintendo RPGs. This is something we don't usually do on Rhythm Encounter, but the whole panel was excited about the idea, so we're going to have a non-standard playlist today, but I think you're all going to like it. But before we talk about the playlist, let's talk about my co-panelists today, starting with Matt.
Matt does what Nintendo don't. Hi.
That is a good throwback. And Gio.
Hello.
All right, you did it.
Yeah.
Matt really wanted to do like themed intros, and I was going to see what everyone did.
Gio, say "play it loud." Play it loud, Gio.
I'm sorry, I can't think of anything. Can I do like this? Can I do like the Switch sound? There
you go.
Like yeah.
All right, pretty good. And then Tom is with us as well, his first time on Rhythm Encounter.
Hi there. Yeah, hi.
Hi, nice to have you.
I'll take Matt's request. It's a me, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. Technically, I didn't do one either because I just did my standard intro, so I guess only two of us were on theme today. But yeah, thanks for being here today. We've been trying to do a Nintendo episode for a couple of months. The idea originally was this was going to mostly coincide with the launch of the Switch 2, or at least early June, and now it's going to be mid-July. But what are you going to do? We got busy. Either way, the Switch 2 is still new, so I think it works. We don't really have any Switch 2 music here, but that's all right. We still have a lot of Nintendo music from across the years. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Before we get into the main topic, as usual, I would like to know what you all are listening to lately. Tom, I'm going to put you on the spot since you're our newest guest. What's been on your playlist?
So game music wise, I've been back playing quite a lot of Stardew Valley, so been listening to obviously a lot of that whilst I play, which is really good soundtrack. But outside of game music, I'm quite a big fan of rock, so a lot of Green Day, Linkin Park, that kind of thing, really.
Nice. Do you have any favorite tracks, like in particular lately, or just all of them?
To be fair, a new one that I've been listening to, which is neither Green Day or Linkin Park, is I say a new song, new to me, is New Shoes by Paolo Nutini.
Oh yeah, I like that one.
Yes, it's really good.
It's really catchy.
Yeah, it is very catchy. I keep catching myself singing it as I go around the house.
All right. How about you, Matt?
Yeah, I think game music adjacent. I've been blasting 3 albums on repeat lately on Spotify, actually. The first being Metroid Metal. Do you guys ever listen to Metroid Metal? He's been doing his thing for a long time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, his album, like, Various Suites, which is like a collection of all his stuff, pretty much. Listening to that a lot. And Bit Brigade's new album, Castlevania. It's like a re-record of Castlevania for them, which is fantastic. And it just came out like a week ago as of recording. The Legend of Piano by Kyle James Alm. He's like this Instagram pianist, and his spin on all these like Zelda tracks is amazing. Like the very opening song, it's Ocarina of Time's opening theme, the piano with like Epona running over the hill, and he combines it with I forget the classic song, like Gymnopedia number whatever it is, right? The very relaxing piano song, but yeah, very like mature and thoughtful take on Zelda music. So I've been listening to that a lot lately. Oh, I was gonna say I should also blame Gio, because outside of game music, I've been listening to a little bit of Limp Bizkit lately after our last call. And
why?
You were talking about butt rock and Limp Bizkit, and I'm like, yeah, Limp Bizkit, that's right. I forgot about that guy, and now I'm like, I've re-chutted myself, you know. So I'm trying to break that. Yeah, yeah,
Hell yeah.
chocolate starfish, but trying to break that habit.
WWE core.
Yeah, friends don't let friends listen to Limp Bizkit.
I guess I'm not your friend.
Do we need to have an intervention, Matt?
Help! Somebody help!
Is that a future Rhythm Encounter topic? We all come on here with things that we know we shouldn't like.
But cool. I'd sign up for that.
It sounds fun. I really do try to avoid like anything that's like, this is bad music, because it's really subjective.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I would pick for game music in that sense, unless it was the Breath of Fire 2 dungeon music.
Yes, that belongs there.
We'll talk about that later, I guess. How about you, Gio? What are you listening to?
In terms of game music, I've been like diving into this racing series 04 Champ. It's like this really old defunct racing series that was like on the PC Engine, and then the Saturn, and then up to the PS2. And like I've discovered like the music in the series is super good if you like what I like, which is like jazz fusion, bit of like Japanese drum and bass kind of thing. It's really cool. And my partner knows, because she hears me play it like every day, like even in the shower I listen to it. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
04 Champ. Okay.
Yeah. I really recommend it. I'll probably like share something in the channel later.
Yeah, please do. God, you never fail to like surprise me with things that I've never heard of. I love that. I gotta check it out now.
We demand a Geo shower playlist.
Oh yeah. Actually, Matt, that's why I was like so surprised when you said like you had like a YouTube channel, because like I was like considering like I wasn't gonna make like a YouTube channel, but I was like gonna make like some sort of like SoundCloud thing where like I put together like a mixtape on SoundCloud, like just to
the Geo shower mixtape.
Oh yeah.
Getting wet with Geo 2025.
That could be like my first like theme, or like theme for the episode, like songs I listen to in the shower. So
I mean,
people, we would listen to it, I think. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Plus, it's a strong way to start, because it's like, ooh, it sounds. I mean, there's nothing in there that's like salacious. But people might expect it and want to click on it, and then you'll get your audience. They'll be like, oh wait, well this isn't what I thought it was, but the music is still great, so I'm going to keep listening.
Immediately, like it's like intimate, right? It's like, oh, I'm not holding back, like like the naked truth of Geo.
Well, then you're gonna have
naked.
Then you're gonna have like commit to it. Then the next one is gonna be like Geo lounging by the fire or something.
We say all this, listener, but like before we started the recording, Mike had playing in the waiting room the Yakuza 0 like hostess theme from like the the cabaret club. So we're already very intimate, I think.
Yeah, I guess that's maybe that's what influenced some of this discussion.
Yeah, ironic, because it's Nintendo, the most family friendly of all the game companies. So
although there's our connection to the Switch 2, because Yakuza 0 is the one game in the series that is on Switch 2.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. I put so many hours into that pretty recently. Like, I don't want to play again, but also I like the idea of new scenes, so I'm curious. Maybe when it's on sale. Well, as for me, my listening has not been anything incredibly obscure. In fact, it is. Oh God, that sounds like I was going to make a really bad pun, because I've been listening to Claire Obscure. That was not planned, but I have been listening to that because we're finally playing it. Although,
great,
yeah. So Claire Obscure music is unsurprisingly fantastic, and then also because it's been our obsession for like months, the Blueprints soundtrack is
Yes.
really something special.
Yes.
Like I went beyond that too, because like I like it so much and how the atmosphere and the just ambiance of it. And I looked up the artist on Apple Music, and they have of course they're an established artist, so there's a whole bunch of other music out there, and it's kind of in the same vein. So I'm like, I can see why, they reached out to these people to do the music for this game if that was the sound they're going for, because their other music is similar. Not always as moody, but it's really great. Like, what's her name? Trig and Gusset.
Yes.
Yeah. Trig and Gusset. Just if you want some like instrumental ambiance, I don't know if it's electronic, but no, it's really cool background music. I would listen to it in the shower.
It's like the Gone Home soundtrack a little bit, like the Chris Remo kind of soundtracks that were big in the 2010s. But yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. That's mostly it lately, outside of like podcast prep music, but that's okay. Those two, I don't mind if those two are the main things I've been listening to.
I mean, that's an 8-hour soundtrack, Clear Obscure. So I mean, that's eating up most of your time already. So
exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So we are here to talk about Nintendo stuff, as I talked about earlier, and I kind of threw this question out for fun because the idea was kind of a general Nintendo celebration, not like it didn't have to be Switch related, even though it was going to sort of coincide with the Switch too. And I thought, like, let's see, like, I'll see who our panel is, and if they're interested, you can do 2 RPG songs or 1 RPG and 1 non-RPG. And everyone was like, yeah, I'll pick something that's not an RPG. In fact, for a second, the way you were talking, Matt, I thought you were going to pick 2 non-RPG music, which you probably weren't. Oh, you were?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I love Nintendo music, but, and I'm like, oh, we can always talk about Legend of Zelda, like, later or something. But, I mean, there's plenty to go around, as is.
Well, I'm sorry if I ruined your plans. I still want us to have some RPG, but I do like what we ended up with here. So I'm glad that we did that and everyone picked some really interesting picks. Mm-hmm. Briefly, before we get into the music, I don't always do this anymore, but for this topic, I want to do it. But what drew each of us to this one? Let's start with Matt. Like, what brought you into this one? Why'd you really want to do this one?
I think, like, like many of you guys and many people listening, I've been a VGM fan for like my whole life pretty much, and that started with Nintendo. I mean, like, what kid doesn't know the Super Mario Bros. Theme and like countless other things like Pokemon, Zelda, Metroid, Kirby. But yeah, so I think like for all my teenage years, like most of the music I listened to was like video game music, and like I would say like 80% of that was probably Nintendo music, because they were the ones really taking it seriously and making it like melodic and fun and interesting, not just like ambient, which is nothing wrong with that, but just Nintendo has like themes. They're very theme driven. So I think aside from Final Fantasy, most of my like game music knowledge comes from like non-RPG games, like especially Nintendo games, I would say. So yeah, when it comes to Rhythm Encounter, I'm still kind of a baby with RPG music. I feel like I'm still learning lots of new things. So I thought, something I'm knowledgeable about. Nintendo, let's jump in.
Nice. How about you, Tom?
Honestly, yeah, really similar to Matt in that I wouldn't actually say I'm like a super big like music person. Like, coming on here is a bit daunting for me because I don't really have like that much expertise when it comes to music. But when it comes to like growing up, I was always that like the Nintendo kid, like all my friends had an Xbox. I was like, well, I've got my Wii, I've got, and but when I think about video games, often music doesn't always come to the forefront of my mind, which I guess for you guys maybe is a lot more prominent. But when I think of Nintendo, like there's always music associated with it. I think like their games, it's so ingrained in their games that like their music sort of puts you in a time and a place. And I felt like, well, I've always wanted to do an episode of Rhythm, and Nintendo is like my area of expertise. So I thought, well, this is sort of the episode for me, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're here, right? It got you on the show, so I think it worked.
Yeah, exactly.
Normally I would go last, but I'm gonna jump in now, and not just because I think Gio is gonna have the most surprising answer to this, but mostly because my answer is also similar to you, Matt. Back in if you were around in the 80s and 90s, you know that you couldn't have more than one console. I mean, realistically, it's because our parents would not want to buy more than one. But also, obviously, marketing-wise, there was the whole rivalry. It's like if you were on Nintendo, you couldn't also have a Sega. That's not how it worked. And so, that's how I grew up. I grew up as a Nintendo kid. I've obviously diversified since then. But they're still important to me. I mean, they're still my preferred platform, even though I have a lot of games I love on other platforms as well. But, yeah, I mean... My first gaming experiences, well, I guess my first ones were probably on, I think we had the Commodore 64 first. But yeah, between that and Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, and Zelda, we had those very, very early on. So, I mean, it's just always, since I was 5 or so, been a part of my life. So I have very fond memories, and just all of Nintendo's games and music are very special to me. And how about you, Gio?
I'm like, well, my answer is a bit different. I
know. I knew it would be. Yeah. I'm not trying to make you embarrassed about that. I like that it is.
I'm just like, I'm just cracking up because it's like everyone knows me so well at this point. But I mean, I'm coming at it like as a Nintendo fan, like anyone else. I like pretty much all the games that Nintendo puts out. But like when I saw that we were gonna do one, I got excited because like at the time I was listening to, and like I noticed that you said that there would be like, we could bring like non-RPG music in. I was like, oh shoot, this is my chance, because I was just listening to like the Style Savvy OST, like that dress up game, which has on DS and 3DS, which has really, really nice music.
What?
I was like originally like committing to bringing like a song from them, but then I cooled on the idea as time went on, and then I ended up bringing something else. But yeah, that was like the original plan. I was gonna inculcate everyone into like the Style Savvy religion, the Style Savvy OST. that was like my original plan.
I was really close to bringing like the eShop music, like the 3DS eShop or the Wii eShop. Like, I'm like, I wanted to do like that.
Oh
kind
yeah,
of yeah.
Yes. Shoot! I wish I thought about that. I wasn't thinking outside of games. Was Style Savvy like developed or published by Nintendo then?
It was, yeah.
Oh wow, Nintendo. Okay. I feel like I've heard of it, but didn't realize that they had actually done a game like that. Okay. All right. Well, I keep opening tabs and links with the things you've mentioned already, Gio, and we haven't even really started the episode. So I'm looking forward to checking those out later myself. Well, maybe we'll do another one at some point, and we can get the things that we thought about after the fact. Like we can get Style Savvy and the eShop and
hell yeah,
whatever my backup thing was. I already forgot what it was. But
the eShop music would have been so good. I love that.
Are we thinking of like the Wii one?
Or the Wii home theme? Yeah.
Yeah. And I know a bunch of the 3DS ones are really good too. Like it changes, right? Like every season or something.
I think so. Yeah, it was really catchy. They have it on like the Nintendo Music app. I think they have like a lot of the background menu themes.
Oh,
yeah.
It's such a shame because like we like I don't know. It's not available in where I live. So.
Oh really? Oh my god.
Yeah, the Nintendo Music app. So.
Oh, it's good. It is good.
Yeah.
It's not that great, Gio. Don't worry about it. It's not that great.
Don't worry. It's rubbish.
Come on, Tom.
It's okay, guys.
Well, this is a bad time for me to mention that they've been really good the last like month or so about adding stuff. Like they've been adding stuff a lot. I forgot what they added most recently, but you know, when it launched, they had an okay lineup, but they've been pretty good about updating it regularly, which I'm glad, because it still barely covers their scope of music over the years. So the only way they're gonna like get everything or a lot of important things included is like to keep updating it because there's just so much.
And they do
I think
some
it does
cop
really.
outs. Oh, go ahead, Tom.
Like, sorry, no, you go first.
No, you go.
All right. I think it's nice as well that it does really exemplify just how much music means to Nintendo. There's not, there's no other video game company out there that's dedicated an entire app to just cataloging their music, and I think it's really nice that they just sort of have somewhere for fans to go and just sort of easily access the music. It's a great way of like sort of cataloging it.
Yeah, that is so true.
Yeah, that's a really positive way of looking at it, because like I was like looking at it from the cynical way, and like I was like thinking, oh, they want to shut down all the YouTube channels with
I'm sure they want to do that too.
Well, yeah, but they've always had that mindset. They've always shut music channels down, and it's always been like, well, but you're not offering an alternative. At least now they're offering that, so I'm glad about that too.
I mean, just play ball with like Spotify or Apple Music or somebody else, though. Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, I feel like at this point, like at least if they're if their mindset is kind of like the old Disney mindset where like they would have their movies in the vault and only available at a certain period and then they'd be locked away again, which I hated, by the way.
Don't give them ideas, Mike.
Well, I mean, at least Disney doesn't do that anymore. They're like, regardless, despite their more than one time a year price hikes on Disney Plus, at least everything's there. But maybe if Nintendo would at least release the stuff that's in their music app, so it's available, it's out there also on other services, streaming or to purchase. I think that would be nice, but I'll at least take this over nothing. I mean, there's so many things that we would see that would get pulled from YouTube, and it's like, well, there's literally no way to listen to this, and in a lot of cases, not even like. In the case of something like Mario Galaxy, it's not like they actually released the soundtrack where they did, and now it's out of print. But so many of their games don't get soundtracks, like the Mario and Luigi games. That we did a Mario RPG episode. Was that last year? And I always include links on where to get these albums and stuff in the show notes. And that whole episode was like, well, most of these never even had albums. There was never an actual way to listen outside of people who would rip it and put it on YouTube. So those people are trying to preserve the music, which Nintendo was not doing. Well, maybe they were, but they weren't. They had it. They just weren't sharing it.
Shout out to people like Silva Gunna. Do you remember that guy? Like Silver Gunner?
Oh, yeah.
On YouTube, and then he became like Gilva Sunner. Like, he was amazing for like, I don't know if he's still up or if he got taken down, but like such a wide breadth of Nintendo music that it's like, wow, like, yeah, you can get this literally nowhere else except for here.
Yeah. So, I mean, I hope the app continues to do well and just they add more stuff that is otherwise unavailable or lost. I mean, the fact that they're putting stuff like system sounds and shop music on there, I think is a good indicator that they want to really have it be a pretty thorough resource.
Yeah. I was going to complain that they do like recently it's like, oh, Kid Icarus, and then like, oh, Kid Icarus in Japan, and I'm like, there's no difference. They do a lot of that where it's like, oh, Zelda on Wii U. Oh, Zelda on Switch. And I'm like, those are the same soundtracks, but whatever. At least it's up there.
They did have the original Zelda, though. They had like the disc version and the NES version, and those are a little different. So that's kind of cool.
Sense. Yeah.
And at least, and I didn't mean for this to be a whole discussion about the app. I do like that they have like the sleep timer and the fact that there's like built-in like extend mode for the music. Which is cool because that's not something you would get in other music apps. So at least they're, even though it's all like in this one app tied behind their subscription, like at least they're doing something unique with it. like if it was just a standard music app and it didn't have those extending features, or they didn't have like a really good like curation of like, you know, certain themes, or you can hone in on, you know, if you really like Peach, I guess, and you want music related to Peach, like you can find that in there. So I don't know, it's a fun way of doing it. But I'm glad that they make it fun, but also still put full soundtracks. They're not just like, oh, here's just a few selections, because that wouldn't be good for anyone.
Like I didn't know about extend mode, and I feel like that justifies the app for me personally. Like I think, yeah, that alone makes it worth it, because it's so hard to loop music properly, game music properly. So yeah,
Gio, imagine showering with aquatic ambience on repeats. That would be amazing, right?
It won't loop back to like the opening theme, and it's like the rap thing. It's gonna.
Okay, well, that's enough of that app. You're welcome, Nintendo, for sort of pitching this. So if you want to like sponsor this episode, like let me know. You can reach me at mike@rpgfan.com. Otherwise, why don't we get into our actual music today? Because otherwise I can just sit here and talk to you guys forever. So as I mentioned earlier, we've mentioned a couple times, we have a mix of RPG and non-RPG. I have our songs grouped today by theme, so we're just gonna kind of bounce between stuff we do and don't cover, but we got some fun picks. So let us start with you, Matt.
All right, so the first song that I'm bringing for today is Because I Love You, which is, right?
It's the song name.
Specifically for all you guys, though. I knew you would all be here. And it's originally from Mother 2 Earthbound. It's composed by Keiichi Suzuki, but this specific arrangement is arranged by Kenji Kondo. Kenji Kondo, no relation to Koji Kondo at all. And it's from the 2003 arrangement album Mother 1+2, which was released to coincide with the Mother 1+2 Game Boy Advance remake that they made. But so this is an arranged version of a Earthbound track.
Great. And Gio, what's your first one today?
Yeah, I'm bringing Caring, composed by Kazuki Komai from Fire Emblem Engage.
Great. I did actually pair these up based on how they sounded, not just because the titles pair well together, but that works too. So let's go listen. Yeah, let's go listen to Because I Love You and Caring.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Yes, that was Because I Love You and Caring. So about Because I Love You, um, I just really like this arrangement because, I don't know, it's quirky in its own way. Like, it kind of, the instrument choice that they use is kind of quirky with like the mandolin and the flute and the kind of like almost medieval kind of folk feeling to it. Yeah, I thought it was just like a really like lovely, soft track that was just pleasant to listen to. I mean, a lot of other music is like offbeat and weird, but this one is like, you could show this to anybody and I think they would fall in love with this track. It's just and you know, if we're talking about love, like this could be interpreted as any kind of love, you know what I mean? Like, I think in the game context it's like filial love, parental love, but you know, it could be romantic, it could be friendship. So I love it for that. I just think it's a very easy listening track. But what did you guys think of this one?
Oh, I think this is great. I mean, you know, I've heard other arrangements of this like main motif here, but it's one of the slower ones I've heard. But it really like lets each note of the song kind of wash over you, and the instruments in this version are so nice. It's one of the most, I guess fittingly, one of the most chill songs we have today. Yeah, I just enjoyed it a lot. I guess I don't have any major deep insights into it. Maybe if I had ever actually finished Earthbound, which one day I swear I will do, I will have better. I will have better insights. I know.
It's available now on the Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah, I know. But the problem is we got like I think we're like 3/4 of the way through it, or I shouldn't say we. Hillary's finished the game multiple times, so this playthrough we're playing together, we're maybe 3/4 of the way through, but we started on the SNES Mini, so I'm like, I know we have it on the Switch, but I gotta like, you know, hook that up and keep that up to play. That's the only thing we played on that console. But I'm like, I'm not going to start over again, so we got to like play it specifically on there if I'm ever going to finish the game. But anyway, yes, great pick. Yeah. Thank you.
I think it fits the sort of like Earthbound and Mother, that the entire series. It's almost, I think it's quite unique in that it's sort of got that sort of childhood adventure theme to it, of like, you know, you're a group of kids off to save the world. And the song itself almost sort of reminds me, is quite similar to a lot of like nursery rhymes almost, I feel, and has that similar sort of melody almost. And to Matt's point about like the love, like, I mean, sort of within keeping with the name of the franchise, it does almost sort of like remind you of sort of like that sort of warmth of like a mother's love almost. So I think it really fits the game very well.
Oh, that's a really cool point. Like, it's probably like, I know from the name of the game, like it's probably like, I don't know, meant to be like, well, familial love, but probably like the love of a mother, because like if I remember right, like this is the song that plays at the end of the game.
Yeah,
and it's
right.
Like it's leading up to you coming back home, and then like your mom's like waiting for you. I think that's the idea, I think. So yeah, that's how I think of this song. It's like the comforting embrace of like your mom after like this, because like this, like right before this, he just fought like this eldritch, scary being with like the most cacophonous, noisy music in the game, and like it's like such a sigh of relief to hear this song after. And I just love this motif in general. I love the Foresight theme, and like this is like a really cool version of that. So
yeah, Foresight is like the slowed down version of this song, right?
Yeah. Or the big band version.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The whole album is great. Like the arrangement album is great. Like their version of Pollyanna and everything in the beginning is really fun. So if you're at all like familiar with Earthbound music through like Super Smash Brothers even, I think this is a really great album to listen to. Mother 1+2.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it until now, so I definitely added it to my playlist, like the whole album. So
Matt, is this one available on the Nintendo Music app?
Not on your life, Buster. And it probably never will be. But I don't even think Earthbound is, right? I'm scrolling through it right now, and Earthbound itself is not either, which is a shame.
I was just curious, yeah.
Mother 3 is there, right?
Of course, along with the releasing on Switch too? No, Mother is there.
No mom.
Wow, who would have thought
No
they'd shadow drop Mother 3 on July 4th? So weird. No. I mean, as much music as they have added to the app, like there are still notable holes. So I would hope that series lands on there at some point.
You know what? If they can put the eShop music and all that stuff, they can put Mother.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I think the thing with Mother is it's one of those things that, in our circles, everyone talks about and everyone wants it, and it's like really big. But, it's just, like you guys said, it's like it's not on par with their other series. It's how Metroid manages to have like 7 or 14 year hiatuses between games, because especially in Japan, it's not popular. So I'm like, I understand why they don't. Like, it's sad because they're so good, but I understand why it takes a long time for them to do them sometimes. Although I'm thinking after how well Dread did, and whenever Metroid Prime 4 comes out, I think maybe that is finally going to shift.
If you want to know what kids in Japan play, like my students, when I ask them like what games they like, everyone has a Switch. Everyone plays Mario Kart, Minecraft, and Splatoon. And I'm like, oh, that's why there are 3 Splatoons like in the span of 10 years. Like it's selling like hotcakes here, right? Like that's who they're catering to, is these damn Japanese kids, these damn children. But yeah, so it's, I don't know anyone playing Mother. Even Mother fans aren't playing Mother, like Tom said.
I don't have a good trend. Oh wait, no. Here's the transition. Speaking of games that no one was really playing, but now everyone wants to play, and is playing, and became a big series for Nintendo. Geo.
Yeah. Well, I can say I am personally playing Fire Emblem Engage right now. That's like the first game I'm playing on my new Switch too. And well, that's not really the reason. Like, I'm playing it because I like the music, because I listened to the music before I played the game. And yeah, I picked this song "Caring" because I find it very interesting. Like, it's like this interesting version of the Fire Emblem main theme, because I've never heard it expressed like a love theme before, but it works surprisingly well. It kind of reminds me of Ennio Morricone. I think that's how you pronounce it, right? But like,
I think so.
He had like, there's a soundtrack of his I really really like, Cinema Paradiso, and this song is this one of those songs that sounds like it's like kind of like inspired by that soundtrack. Same with like Love Grows from like Final Fantasy VIII. That's another one that sounds like one of his songs, and I just really like it. Like, it's like really romantic and sentimental without being like sappy, and I just think it's so unusual, I guess, for the series, because like the series is mostly known for like these like more energetic, upbeat tracks. Than I wanted to like bring attention to it.
I have to agree. Like I'm not really a big Fire Emblem fan. To be honest, I don't have any ill will against series. I just haven't really played many. But the soundtracks I have heard have always been quite like sort of grandiose, and I was quite taken aback by this one, just because, like Gio says, it's not really what you expect from the series, but it's really really lovely melody.
I'm curious, like when you said about the like Morricone comparison, is that because of the theremin that they use in this track?
Yeah, it sounds very Italian.
Yeah, that's right.
Better word, yeah.
Well, it's funny
Yeah.
because I think I'm going to bring it up with Gio's next track, but there's a Japanese artist who is really similar to this sound, who I think also inspired this music, especially with his album, which is called Paraiso. When you said like Cinema Paradiso or whatever, I was like, oh, like hold on. I can name drop him now, but I'll talk about it later. But it's Haruomi Hosono, who is the founding member of YMO.
Yeah.
But that album has a very similar feel, like in terms of the theremin, but more similar to Gio's later track. But this song I thought was one of those songs on a soundtrack where you wish that it was longer, like in the best way possible. It's like, this track is so amazing. Like, I wish there was like a 5-minute version or a 6-minute version, just because. But I mean, it's so structurally perfect, the way it builds up and everything. It moves in unexpected ways with like the instrumentation. I really like this track. I thought it was really pretty, and the orchestra is kind of like just barely restraining itself. You know what I mean? Like just holding back this flood of music, and yeah, I really like that track.
Well said.
Yeah. I'm glad you specified it's like a love or romance theme, because based on just how it sounds and the title, I would have been shocked if it was anything else. It's just it's so like tender, and like the little piano flourishes are great, and the last, I don't know, 30-40 seconds or so, like the way the song like kind of like builds up and fades out, it really has a nice sense of closure. Like even though it's much shorter than any video game like end credits track, it feels, I don't know, it just has a nice like finale to it, that on par with like the way a long end credits track would play out sometimes. I don't know, it's really nice. But I do agree, like I wish there was more to it as well, or because I'm not sure how it would loop, but maybe that's the point. Maybe it's supposed to be beautiful and fleeting. So
wow, Mike, that's
so cool.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to offer insight, but if you guys like it, then I'm happy.
Just tossing out casual wisdom at the end there, like it like when you say it like that, it kind of reminds me of like the ending theme of Chrono Trigger to Faraway Times, but it's like condensed into 2 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm glad you get what I was going for there. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally can feel that in this track, and the vocals too are like really like otherworldly. Like it's like the vocals from like the Fifth Element, like that space opera lady. This kind of like haunting. Yeah. I don't know. I thought that was quite cool too. Weird for Fire Emblem.
Okay, I'm glad you. I was trying to think of something to say about those two, but I wasn't sure how to articulate. So I'm glad you mentioned them. Yeah, I thought those were interesting too. All right. Well, speaking of interesting picks, Gio, I think we're all excited to get to your next track.
Yeah. So I'm bringing Yellow Giant, composed by Tatsuhiko Asano, from the Nintendo 64 and later GameCube game Doshin the Giant.
And we're specifically listening to like a newer, like remastered version of the track, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not different, right? But it's like sharper, I guess, or like
sharper, okay.
A cleaner version of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I think the 2023 like reissue of the album. Yeah.
So more reissue than actual remaster, really.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. And Tom, what is your first song today?
My first song is Ecruteak City by Go Ichinose from Pokemon HeartGold and SoulSilver.
Awesome. Been way too long since we had some gold and silver on here. All right. Let's go listen to Yellow Giant and Ecruteak City.
Yeah, so Yellow Giant, maybe in case you haven't heard about Doshin the Giant before, Doshin the Giant is like this really strange, like little like god game where you play as like this, you know, the titular Doshin. He's on this island, and you can like the villagers like kind of you can like make the villagers either like worship you like a god, or you can be like a, you know, a demon, and you can like ruin their lives, the kind of thing. And I've never actually played it. Like it's more like just something I watch other people play, or like but my main point of familiarity with the Doshin is really the soundtrack, because the soundtrack is very unusual. I find for Nintendo, like it's like I mean, a while ago, like we were talking about like how would you even like classify it genre wise. In my head it's like this like weird space folk electronica album, or like the soundtrack is like this weird spacey somewhat tropical sounding album. Sorry, I'm really bad at describing stuff, but
No, you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, I just find it very interesting, like how I feel like I've never heard anything else like it in gaming. So like my biggest like point of reference is probably like what I think I'd want to see the Florida Matt, but like for me, I also think about this artist called, his name is Mort Gerson. Like he's like this like pioneering electronic artist from like the 70s, and like he plays a lot with like synthesizers, like Moog synthesizers, and like the way like the very interesting synths in this song in particular really remind me of like his work. Like there's a song, To My Dear Beloved or something like that, that's like a really really cool similar sounding song that I would recommend. So yeah, but like I think Matt had like I think a more accurate comparison, I think, or like probably like I would say it's more likely to have inspired Doshin. So yeah.
When you brought this game up, like I forgot this game existed because it only released in Japan and Europe, but Doshin was like a trophy in Super Smash Bros. Melee, on the GameCube, and so I remember seeing that and being like, what is this like big Play-Doh man? I thought it was the same guy as like the Starman on the cover of Earthbound when I was younger. Right?
I can see that. Much happier.
Yeah,
though.
like big yellow giant, right? Or even like the Mega Man, like Yellow Devil. But yeah, it's like you said, Gio, it's hard to encapsulate what genre this is, because it's definitely not like any game soundtrack. The game itself gives me like Katamari Damacy vibes a little bit, just like the weirdness of it, I suppose, but I too have never played it. But yeah, the soundtrack, like it's funny that you mentioned in the last segment, like because here like the theremin is, or that theremin kind of sound is present again, and it sounds so much like I said in the last one, Haruomi Hosono's album Paraiso, which is, he was a solo artist before that, and even before that he was in the band Happy End, which is like kind of like a Japanese like Beatles kind of ripoff. But this album, like Paraiso, it was in the 70s, and it was the first album of what would become Yellow Magic Orchestra, YMO, which is like one of the pioneering like electronic bands of the world. And yeah, if you listen like to this song, or like this whatever, the Dojin song, and then like the Hosono track back to back, very similar, like tropical spacey vibes. Very weird, both of them, but very fun. I feel like that might be like one of the inspirations for this track as well. Like it's hard for me to separate them in my mind, but both are really, really fun. I'm a big Hosono fan, so I like this. And also, funnily enough, we were just talking about all the Nintendo music that's not on Spotify. I don't know about you guys, but this album is on Spotify in Japan, and I'm like, this is on Spotify of everything.
What?
Like, yeah,
it is on Spotify here too. Yeah.
Okay.
Is it do you think it's one of those cases where is it under Nintendo or is it under the artist composer?
It's under Asano.
Yeah,
so he's
okay.
holding on to it. Yeah,
right. That's good.
Yeah, I think it's also his only soundtrack, or like his only album, like on Spotify too. He's got one other, like, yeah, it's pretty much his only album on Spotify. So it's funny how it ended up on there. But yeah, I really enjoyed this track, and it makes me want like Dojin for Smash. We need Dojin in the next Smash Bros. I think.
Well, of all the Nintendo things to actually have an accessible and available soundtrack, it was this one.
Yeah. There you go, listeners.
I know.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, Mike, like it's gonna be. It's like surprisingly easier for you to track down like links for this album.
yeah.
I would not have guessed that. I also have thoughts, but I know Tom had some thoughts too, so I was going to let you go first, Tom.
Yeah, I guess like the others, I've not played Doshin, despite living in Europe, but I do know, like from what I've seen, it's quite a quirky game, and I think you could sort of describe this music in the same way. Like if someone asked me to like give it a genre, like I'm not really sure I'd be able to do that, but at the same time, I think it does feel like inherently Nintendo. Like a lot of like Nintendo's mascots are like sort of quite bubbly. So you've got like you've got Mario, Kirby, Yoshi, and I feel like it does sort of fit in with that theming. So despite being very much like, I don't know, maybe a bit of an outcast in the Nintendo world, for a lack of a better term, it does feel like it fits in with the like Nintendo as a whole quite well.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I don't know offhand if there isn't some track from this game somewhere in Smash Brothers. This is one of those games where like I know exactly what Doshin looks like. I know the cover, I've seen it, and I know what, he's this big yellow guy. That's all I've ever known. I've never looked up gameplay, and obviously we never got the game here, so I don't really know what it is that you do exactly. But it's also just like, just based on the very, very bare minimum that I have, it just seems so charming. I mean, you can't even look at the cover of that game and not smile. But the song is just, it's a little bit silly. It's like, I like quirky. For some reason I get like silly and a little bit alien, but like not in like a negative way. Just kind of like, it's just a sound you're not used to hearing, I guess, in some parts. But still like whimsical and lighthearted. It makes me think of, going back to Earthbound for a second, it makes me think of Mr. Saturn. Like tonally, just that kind of thing that I'm very bad at describing, this weird, indescribable, whatever this odd, interesting, happy sound is. It makes me think of Mr. Saturn. And also good, like, I mean, are you like on a big island, like a tropical island or something? Because it has this kind of like summery island feeling or something. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if this ever like magically lands, now the Switch 2 has GameCube support. If that ever lands on the shop, I would have to check it out. Well, did you say the GameCube one is just like a port of the N64 one, or is it a sequel?
No, it's like a enhanced port. Yeah.
Okay, so now there's two platforms then that are also supported on Switch. So there's double the chances that one of those versions could land on there.
Yeah.
And I even have the Japanese, like I have a Japanese Nintendo account specifically to get the Japanese Classic app. So if it only lands on the Japanese N64 or GameCube app, I can still do it.
We'll do a retro encounter. You and I, Mike, we can do a retro encounter for Doshin the Giant.
Well, only if we decide that somehow we actually cover it.
You're
but I
growing,
don't know if we do.
You're growing your powers as a god.
Yes. Anyway, no, this was it's one of those things that Doshin the Giant, unexpected, probably universally I can say that. I would never expect Doshin the Giant. But if I was to expect it, it would definitely have been from Geo. I mean, yeah, really a really fun one. So thanks for bringing this one on, introducing us to this weird, interesting, and fun song.
Yeah,
cool.
Agreed.
I'm glad to have done that for you, for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Tom, we want to talk about Pokemon? I know you do.
Always, yeah. Always. Yeah, so the Ecruteak City sort of theme tune, I think, for me, what's so great about it is, I think when it comes to Pokemon, if anyone that knows me knows I love all Pokemon, but I really particularly love sort of the early Pokemon. It has like this almost a slightly different vibe to I think where the series has gone now. And don't get me wrong, I love where the series is now, but I think that early vibe, it captures that sort of like childhood sense of adventure so well. And I think like HeartGold, SoulSilver is like the one for me that really nails that theme, along with like Kanto, but I guess that's also included in HeartGold, SoulSilver. But Johto in particular, I think really hits like the nail on the head when it comes to that theme. And it's also like it's still very like Pokemon's obviously expanded into different regions, and like, you know, we've got Alola, which is Hawaii, and Unova, which is based on part of the States. But I think I've always loved the Japanese sort of like regions of Pokemon, and I really think like this music feels inherently Japanese. It feels like very inherently Pokemon. And I think something that I really appreciate about the older Pokemon games, and I think you really get here, is that every town and city felt like really diverse and its own thing. And in the newer games, I feel like they sort of all blend into one. Whereas like when I listen to these older Pokemon theme songs, particularly Ecruteak City, which is why I chose it, really puts like I can picture the town in my head, and I can picture all the NPCs, and maybe that's just because I've played it far too much, but like it definitely puts me into like a time and a place. Like it's hard to sort of put into words how much like HeartGold and SoulSilver mainly means to me as a Pokemon fan. Like it's easily the game I've spent the most time in. Like I think I've probably replayed this game like 10-15 times, and like Ecruteak City is like far and away like my favorite song from the entire Pokemon franchise, I would say. Yeah, I think like almost indisputably, it's probably the track in Pokemon I've listened to the most. You know, I've spent so much time in that world and that city, but I just think, yeah, perfectly like it's the perfect Pokemon song for me, I think, in that regard.
I agree. Like I'm actually like really glad you brought up this HeartGold SoulSilver song, and particularly this one, because like I have really vivid memories of like when I first like got here, like when I started up HeartGold SoulSilver. I was blown away at this rearrangement of HeartGold SoulSilver. I thought, I was like, wow, they went crazy, because like the original version is very it's not, doesn't have all these like little flourishes like that HeartGold SoulSilver has, like with the Koto, I think that's the name, or shamisen, I think is the name of the instrument. And like I was like, oh, it's perfect, it's peak, you know. Well, no one said it's peak in 2010, but you know. But yeah, this is also my favorite HeartGold SoulSilver song, so I agree with everything you said. It's awesome. It's such a great song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like, for me, HeartGold SoulSilver was like the last Pokemon game that I was like really, really invested in, and like the last one that like I feel like I truly loved. But Gold and Silver was also the first Pokemon game that I ever like got into in the beginning. Through my best friend, I would go to his house and he would show me Gold and Silver, and you know, I hear this song, even the arrangement, and I can like picture myself, being like however old we were, like 7 or so, and like I can smell his mom's cigarettes. I can smell, you know, like I can put myself in that time and place so vividly. But this arrangement, like you guys are saying, like it really does encapsulate the like Gold and Silver's way of colliding, you know, modernity and like technology and like tradition, like where like Ho-Oh represents, like Gold Ho-Oh represents the old school Japan, and then Lugia represents the new school Japan. And like this song itself has that, like it's one of the few Pokemon songs I feel like that midway through it has a shift where it's like the beginning is this kind of like Japanesey flourish, you know, with like the Kotsuzumi drum, like the dong and stuff like that, and then it transitions into like a waltz halfway through, like a kind of a watery waltz. So I thought Yeah, it is very like ambitious compositionally, I guess. And when I was listening to this one, it came up in YouTube recommended videos for the Pokemon anime composed by Shinji Miyazaki. There's a really incredible like full orchestra version of this that actually does do away with the Japanese elements, but it's still like a really impressive version of this song. But yeah, I think I never thought about this song as being like, you know, embodying gold and silver, but like I think this is a really great pick that really like dawned a memory in me that I haven't thought about in a long time. I'm like, oh yeah, like this city, I spent so much time here, you know. So I'm really happy that you brought this one, Tom.
Yeah, me too. Even though I unfortunately have the least nostalgia for it because, you know, I played. My brother and I played Red and Blue a lot when we were younger. I mean, like we really got into it, and it was a very I don't want to say a handy time to have a sibling because I think generally it can be nice to have a sibling. But like when they did this thing, we're like, hey, wait a minute, there's 2 versions of this game and there's 2 of us. Like it worked out really well. Like we each got a version and we could trade and battle and all that. So like we got really into it enough, and I don't even know where we got it at the time. Whenever the original Silver came out, because it's not like it was as common now as it is like, oh, I know where I can get an import game. But like somehow we convinced our parents to get us the Japanese versions of Gold and Silver because we didn't want to wait for the English one. And we had no idea what we're doing, and we never finished them because it turns out you need to understand what the text says in a Pokemon game to progress, more or less. I mean, we brute forced it as much as we could, but it's like, we don't know what any of these moves are. So I've never actually finished Silver, but I still have that. I still have my Japanese Game Boy cart of it. So that was more of a story about me and not about the song, but basically just saying like I enjoyed it. Just never got to this part of the game myself. But this was a fun song, and it's not something we've had on the show enough, this game. And I'm totally unsurprised and happy that you brought something from Pokemon, Tom. I knew you'd bring some Pokemon. I wasn't sure.
Who would have guessed?
Yeah, well, I didn't know which one, so I was excited to see it. But it's it's a really cool, kind of a laid back retro theme track. So I did enjoy it, even if I don't have specific memories or insight like the rest of you do. I'm happy it's here.
The brother thing, like, yeah, my older brother, like, we would play Pokemon and we would buy the alternative versions, and like we would play all the way through the game to get the legendary, catch the legendary, and then start over and like give it to each other, like trade each other the legendaries, so that we would have all the starters, all the legendaries. We did that for like a few of the generations, like throughout the Game Boy Advance, really.
Oh,
yeah, that's
very nice.
Good
That's
memories.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother never really. My brother's been into quite a few video games, quite a lot of Nintendo games, but never really got into Pokemon. But I did have a lot of friends that were really into it with me at the same time, and we sort of got this at the perfect time. I mean, I would have been about 7, 8 when this game came out, and I just remember spending like our entire like summer holidays just battling, playing, trading Pokemon. It was like the best time.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
like a childhood staple, I feel like, for like people, you know, of a certain age. Like Pokemon taught me to read, pretty much, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right,
really important.
right. All right.
Actually, I have like a similar story to you, Mike, because, well, I didn't ask for it, but our aunt gave us like a copy of like Pokemon Fire Red, the Japanese version, and we had no idea what we were doing. And we didn't even know. We didn't even know it was a Pokemon game until like we put it in. It was like we saw this Charizard. We're like, but like we were completely lost, and like I was a bit disappointed because I had no conception of what the original Red, Blue, and Yellow was. Like I didn't know it was like a remake. So, so for a while we just kind of left it alone. But then we happened to have like this weird like walkthrough of like Red, Blue, and Yellow, and then I realized like some of the early screens look like the screens from the Japanese Fire Red So I was like, oh my god, we can actually play it because like all we need to do is just like use this book the whole time. So that's what we did. That's how we beat the game.
Oh, nice.
That you jump through. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, it's funny now, especially looking back at that and then my thing. Like today, if I wanted to go play through the Japanese version of Pokemon Silver now, it would be no problem. I'm sure. You know, there's walkthroughs. If anything, you can just follow a walkthrough for any version, right, and just figure out what's this, or you can find a way to like translate. I could use Google Lens or something to translate my screen. But you know, we didn't have that back then. It wasn't just like, you know, there was no walkthrough because the game wasn't out here yet. I mean, there was no YouTube.
The access to SoulSilver is not great though. I mean, I went into a local retro games shop the other day, and I was really lucky. Like, I mean, I don't have my original copy, but I do have a copy that I bought pre-pandemic, and I think it cost me about 50 quid, which isn't too bad. I went in, it was £120 for Pokemon SoulSilver. And you think, like, these games were, like, mass printed. Like, one of the most successful franchises in the world. Like, how are they going for that much money?
Right. Yeah, I mean, see, that sort of throws back to our thing earlier about music and availability. Like, the fact that those games, like, almost all of them, I mean, we saw a couple of the older ones in a game shop a couple of years ago, and I mean hundreds of dollars for like I think it was it Black and White or Black and White 2? It was probably both. Like so many of the old ones, like because you can't get them anymore, and it's like it's one of those ones I can't figure out what Nintendo's angle is on, you know, now that they have their Switch Online system. I don't know why they don't put those on there. I mean, they're not selling them anywhere else. So people are out there like selling them secondhand for hundreds of dollars. I'm like, so you know there's a demand. So I don't know. I don't know if it's one of those like, you know, something is too valuable, like how the Switch 2 Welcome Tour is $10. Like they don't want to put it on a service where it's like basically free for subscribers. Like they didn't want to sell it, and that's why they do remakes. And that would be fine if they would remake them all or at least re-release them all like they did with Diamond and Pearl. But most of them you can't. So it's like, it's really a shame that you can't play most of these games anymore easily.
It's like, well, like knowing Nintendo, it's like their two audiences are like the children that I'm talking about that just want to play the new stuff. And like they love the new Pokemon too. That's another like popular game, like Sword and Shield and like Scarlet Violet. Like kids will talk about that to me. And I'm like, do you know Gold? What about Gold? And they're like, what are you talking about?
You say it like that in that voice.
I can see the silver. But the other market that Nintendo caters to is like making remakes for people, you know, beyond a certain age. That it's like, yes, like we get angry and it's like oh, like Nintendo, like, how can you sell Donkey Kong to me for $80? And it's like, fine, I'll buy it. You know, like they know that they have us by the wallets, and it's like they're just holding us there. Like, you know, one day we'll re-release like Red and Blue again, but it's gonna be slightly upgraded and fully priced. You know what I mean? Like, not to be overly cynical, but I think like that's how Nintendo. That's like their bread and butter is like callbacks and you know, like playing off of people's childhood memories.
Right. But I mean, you know, if they do enough to it, I mean, the Hey You Pikachu is like sort of it was a remake of Yellow, essentially, right? True, I mean, that was a substantial change. But,
and like Super Mario RPG, right? Like it's like that wasn't released on the Nintendo Switch Online. You know, and that wasn't full priced, I think, but it was like, you know, $60 Canadian, whatever that is, American, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm looking. I was curious. I was looking at the Switch Online app really quick, and the only Pokemon Game Boy game that's on there is the Game Boy trading card game.
Oh, they have the Game Boy Advance like dungeon crawler one, like Mystery Dungeon.
Oh, okay. I was gonna check that one next. Yeah,
which is pretty good. Okay, but it's not like the Pokemon that people are craving, you know.
But even that one, like, how many? I mean, there's a lot of those.
Yeah,
there's a lot of those Mystery Dungeon ones. So. Anyway, okay. I'm worried we're going. I'm afraid to look at the time here. We're going a little long here, so we probably should get on. We're at our halfway point still. So let's have Tom introduce his second track today.
So I've chosen for the next one is Gusty Garden Galaxy. It's by Mahito Yakota from Super Mario Galaxy.
Awesome. And Matt, your second song.
Yeah, and my second song I've chosen is Butter Building, a Kirby classic. And this version is arranged by the composer Tomoya Tomita for Kirby's Epic Yarn. So that's Butter Building.
All right, let's go listen to Gusty Garden Galaxy and Butter Building.
So that was Gusty Garden Galaxy from Super Mario Galaxy, and I think the reason I chose this one, especially for like a Nintendo episode, is it's undeniable that I think Mario is Nintendo's most recognizable franchise, and this one in particular, like Mario Galaxy is one of my favorite games of all time, like easily in my top 10. So I had to pick one from here, and this might be my favorite Nintendo song of all time. It's so like grandiose and joyous, and I think it really feels like they're sort of rolling out that sort of red carpet for Mario, which I think is very much earned. It's almost I don't want to say opera-like, but it has that kind of like that feeling of importance to it. But the main reason I chose this is really my childhood nostalgia, and a fairly recent memory is that I think what's so great about Nintendo is like a lot of us grow up with it, right? So it's sort of something that stays with us throughout our life. And I can remember playing this game like early on in my like sort of gaming, when I sort of got into games, and having the Wii was my first console, and this was my first 3D Mario. So it's massively important to me, but also to my brother. And there was a really special moment for us in the Mario movie, where I believe it's actually in the end credits. This song plays, and like I'm a lot more into games than my brother is, and my brother doesn't really follow them as much now. But he sort of looked over at me and sort of like gave me that grin, and he knew exactly where it was from, and it was just a really special moment. And I thought like I'd bring that on to the show, and it's a really special song for me. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I didn't actually know about that appearing in the credits. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, not as cool as your actual personal story. That's really what I should be focusing on.
It's not the whole. I don't think it's not the whole song. It's like a snippet of it, but it was enough that my brother could recognize it.
Yeah,
it was a cool moment.
Yeah, for sure.
That is so great, Tom. That reminds me of like going to the Nintendo store in like New York City with my dad, and they would play like really like great music over the intercom. And my dad would like look at me and be like, is this like Double Dragon, or like is this like Ninja? Like games that we played together on like the Nintendo Entertainment System, like the Famicom, like that. It really means a lot. It's like oh, you do care about my hobby, or like yeah, like you remember that. Like wow, like that is a really warm moment. I love that.
Yeah,
I felt the exact same way with my brother. Like I sort of feel like sometimes my brother's we're very different people now. My brother's like, he's off about to join the Marines and stuff. And I feel like sometimes he sort of looks at my hobbies like, yeah, my brother's a bit of a nerd, really, isn't he? But when he saw that, and I was like, he accepts me. I was like,
yeah, that's great.
Oh.
Yeah, like you can tell that Nintendo loves this song too. Like they know that they struck gold with it because it has appeared in the Mario movie and like Mario Kart and Universal Studios. They play this song all the time apparently. It pops up everywhere. I'm really glad you brought this song because it is like the modern Mario classic. I feel like it's up there in like the top 3 Mario songs of all time, right up there with like the original theme. And my personal story with this song, this happened back in like 2019, I think. My parents came to visit me from Canada, and they came to Japan, and we were traveling around to like different places like Kyoto and Osaka. And so the one day we went to Osaka Castle. You climb the hill, you go up to like the top floor, and you can look out across the city of Osaka. And as we're at the top looking out, I hear this like music floating across on the wind. And I'm like, wait, listen, what is that? And there was a like junior high marching band, like a baseball's throw away, playing Gusty Garden Galaxy. And I go, Dad, listen to this. Like, this is, and of course it's one of those moments for people like that, like, oh, Japan is like anime land, isn't it? But like, it's really not like that. But like when that kind of thing happens, it was like a little magical moment. And my dad, like, he didn't recognize the song because he he checked out before Mario Galaxy, but like, I go, this is Mario, and he's like this it is? Wow, like so cool. But it was a great moment, I thought.
That was probably also surprising, just because like he'd probably never heard any Mario music like in that style or anything before.
Yeah, with a full orchestra, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Yeah, you know, I would have been surprised if our non-RPG rule for this episode didn't include Mario Galaxy. Like it's really, I'm really happy that it's here, even if it's here at the expense of the Wii Shop music, but that's okay.
Next time.
It's so. I have this in my notes, so I'm going to touch on it briefly, even though I sort of talked about it earlier. But it's so ridiculous to think about that Nintendo started, you know, doing orchestrated Mario music with this game, and thankfully, to their credit, was one of the times they actually did release a soundtrack for both games. Unfortunately, both are out of print. I'm as I was doing the notes, I'm like, okay, let's see, can you still get it? Because every once in a while, you can still get CDs for old games, like the Einhander soundtrack for PlayStation that I found like months ago. You can still buy for like $8, and it's still available somehow. Great soundtrack, by the way. This one, no, you know, this is like 10, 11 years old now. Very out of print. I'm glad Mario Galaxy 1 at least is in the Nintendo Music app, so at least there's that. I'm hoping the sequel ends up there too. But yeah, I mean, this, like you guys said, like this is just a top tier pick from a top tier soundtrack. It's so energetic and cheerful, and those like ever ascending notes. Like there's such a perfect track to accompany like this huge like the scale of Mario Galaxy compared to older ones. Like it's so big, you know, like they went from Mario Land to Mario World, and I was like, well, what do we do next? And like they just kept expanding it. Like now you're going to all these different planets. Like it justified this kind of production in the soundtrack, and like this grand orchestrated feel. And I'm so happy with it. I mean, the whole soundtrack is just fantastic. So I'm happy you brought this one, Tom, because it's really a very high point in the Mario series for music.
Yeah. For me, I just want to bring up that, I mean, Matt mentioned it earlier, but like this is like the song that they play at the entrance to like Super Nintendo World, at least in Osaka, Universal Studios Osaka. And so I became intimately familiar with this song like recently when we went to Japan, and I didn't get tired of it. It's just that good. Like I don't know, like it's so simple, and yet it feels so welcoming. It's like it gets you in the mood to enjoy a theme park. It's like it wasn't even made for a theme park, but it's like the perfect theme park song.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And I think until Super Mario Odyssey, because Jump Up Superstar is so good, but like this was also like probably my favorite Mario song too. It's just, there's something about it. It has like this intangible quality to it that just makes it really special.
The whole soundtrack is like almost too beautiful for a Mario game. Like Rosalina's Observatory, like the 3 versions of that. It's like a ballet, like waltz kind of thing, or like it steps it up so much. And yeah, you're right. Like Nintendo has been like chasing that dragon ever since, right? Like they have, you know, like the Mario Kart soundtracks are wild now. Like they're so like the balls to the wall with like the jazz arrangements. But yeah, I do feel like it began with Mario Galaxy. They started taking it, like they're like, oh, people like this stuff. Like okay, here you go. And like they started really trying more. I feel like, or respecting it, I guess you can say.
Yeah. Do we have a transition, a good funny segue from Galaxy to Butter?
Speaking of smooth transitions, there's nothing smoother than Butter.
There you go.
So Butter Building.
There you go.
Yeah, so Butter Building, it's one of those songs that like, you know, if you've played any Kirby game, you know all like the greatest hits of Kirby soundtracks. Butter Building appears, like it's appeared since the very first Kirby game, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, Kirby's Epic Yarn, it's the entire soundtrack, including like a ton of original stuff, is just so expertly crafted. But like, I just had to pick this version of Butter Building just because it's like one of the liveliest, one of the bounciest, one of the funnest versions. Like the play between the piano and like the bass guitar especially, like I love like when the piano I don't know, like verse, I guess you could call it, comes around for the second time, the slap bass kicks in. It's Epic Yarn, it's a really short game, and it's the kind of game that, like, it's super easy. Like, I rented it and I beat it within like 2 or 3 hours with that one friend that I mentioned earlier. We sat down and beat it together, but I feel like we just would let it sit there for a little bit, or I can picture Kirby and Prince Fluff, the like blue Kirby Player 2 character. I can picture us just like dancing with them and like jumping around the screen as the music's playing, rather than like moving on with the level. I think Kirby always has great music, but like Epic Yarn just cranks it up a notch. And I don't think Kirby has been as good musically since Epic Yarn, but fantastic soundtrack that needs to come back, I think, in some form.
Yeah, this is actually one of the ones I missed. I have it. It's one of those ones I actually had to look last night while I was doing notes. I'm like, did I ever get this one? Have I played them? No. Is the fact that it's a 3-hour game compelling me to just play through it this weekend now? Yes. So thank you.
Yeah. And there's a 3DS version too, like Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn. You can get it on 3DS, so it might be a little more accessible. Not really.
Well, this one I have, though. I have the Wii one, so it's okay. Either way, I'd either have to like dust off my 3DS or dust off my Wii and hook it up.
The Wii has like a hard time hooking up to modern TVs, though, right? You need like the audio video cables. And I hooked up to play Brawl like maybe a year or so ago, and like the input lag between like the console and the TV, like whatever, I had to tinker with the settings, I think, to get it to work properly. But yeah, they don't jive very well. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, if I hook it up, I'll let you know what happens. But yeah. I really love, just briefly about the game itself, I really like how certain like little studios or developers or whatever teams at Nintendo like really embrace this like real world material thing. I mean, it happens more often with Yoshi, but the yarn version of Kirby, it's so super cute. I love the look of it, even if I haven't played it. But I do enjoy this track, and like you said, it's going to be familiar if you've played other Kirby games. Like I'm a really big fan of Superstar, of course, and Kirby's Adventure on the NES. So I did recognize this from those games too, but I hadn't heard this version. It's so happy and bouncy, and to say it's an instrumental upgrade over the NES version is maybe understating it a bit. It's such a great arrangement. So I'm happy you brought it and reminded me that this is a Kirby game that I missed out on and need to play.
I agree that it feels like very like happy and bouncy. I think something Nintendo does really well with their music is that like you can listen to one of their tracks and you can almost like, even if someone didn't tell you where it was from, you can almost like guess where it was from. I think they're very good at fitting the songs of like, well, their tracks with like the themes of their characters, and I think I really enjoyed like that Kirby's Epic Yarn. But I also think I actually did almost consider choosing one of the songs from Yoshi's Woolly World for this, and it's quite a similar game, obviously, in terms of that they're both yarn focused, I guess. But I think it's a really like bubbly song that like really does sort of like encapsulate that sort of like Kirby vibe, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah,
100%
for sure.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend listeners like listen to more of the Kirby's Epic Yarn soundtrack, because it's really one of the great soundtracks to just like lounge out to and like put in the background, because it's really not intrusive, but every time it enters, like you become aware of it. Like it's just such a pleasant listen, so it's something you could like actively listen to, or like just like put it on, do other things. It's very good, and I'm really glad Matt brought a song from the soundtrack. Mm-hmm. I also agree that it's the best version of Butter Building. I think it's also like kind of surprising, the composition sometimes, like the way the melody kind of goes for like a lower register, like the piano verse, like, and then the higher pitch I'm expecting. So it's like a lot of thought seems to have gone into soundtrack more than you might think. I think, and yeah, I just think it's such an enjoyable listen. All these years later, it's a very old game now. I was surprised to realize it's quite released a long time ago.
I try not to think about it anymore. Which honestly is also my segue to our next track, Metroid Prime, a game that is 24 years old. I'm gonna briefly about a song I didn't pick. When we got to do non-RPGs, I'm like, well, I got to do Metroid, right? And I almost picked one from Metroid Prime 3. And that alone, I'm like looking on YouTube for Metroid Prime 3 music, because where else are you going to get music for this game? And I'm looking at these songs that were uploaded 17 years ago, and I'm like, how is the third Metroid Prime that old now? How has it been 17 years between sequels on just the Prime series? Anyway, yeah. So, I didn't do Prime 3, but you guys, I think what you guys picked, all 6 of your songs, kind of fit together in some kind of cohesive thing, and I could not find a way for any of them to pair with my 2 songs. That's why I'm here at the end. I'm like, mine kind of go together. Like these are not chill or happy or anything like everyone else's songs. So I'm just gonna like slot my stuff at the end all by itself. So yeah, our last block today, we have the title theme from Metroid Prime. That's by Kenji Yamamoto. And Fight Against Smithy by Yoko Shimomura. And this is from the remake version of Super Mario RPG. So let's go take a listen. Okay, so that was Metroid Prime's title theme, and oh man, it's so good. When we were preparing our track list for this episode, I was like, it's going to be the title theme, or maybe one of the like winter themes, or something from Prime 3. I landed on this one, and then Tom, you and I had a like short discussion in Slack about it. How you were like, you know what, I should play Metroid Prime Remastered, and I'm like, yeah, you should. And then I like immediately went over to my TV and played it for like 2 hours, just inspired by like this song and our little conversation. And it's really good.
It's definitely one I need to
get back to. No, I mean, I'm very fortunate that I managed to get the trilogy when it released on Wii, since they still haven't done anything else with 2 and 3 yet, because I think they're all...
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, 4's coming out, and I'm like, well, if I play 1, I'm going to want to play 4, but I can't go from 1 to 4, and then sort of... They don't give you an option to play 2 and 3. You know, I don't have a Wii U anymore to play the trilogy, so I'm a bit stuck in that respect. So I'm sort of hoping that maybe they'll announce something sooner rather than later for the other 2.
I hope so. I mean, I'm not going to say like what they did in the remaster is like, oh, that seems like it's easy to do, but like it's at least very true to the original. Like they didn't like completely, you know, remake or rebuild every single thing. Like it looks very much like the original, but higher resolution and smoother and nice. So I don't know, like it's not as extensive as something like Final Fantasy VII Remake, you know? So I would like to think they could do 2 and 3. I'm enjoying playing it. I have to admit, like I was one of those people that maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I actually really liked the way it controlled on the Wii, the motion controls for the aiming and stuff. So I enjoyed the trilogy because the trilogy lets you play the first Prime with the motion controls, and I thought it worked really well. Not that it doesn't play fine with a regular controller, but that was cool. I mean, but hopefully for your sake and mine and everyone else that they do something with 2 and 3. But anyway, this song, I can't not say the word squeaky. That opening, someone like the sound effects of the song, it's like it just sounds like alien and squeaky, and I know that's a weird description, but those strange sounds along with like this like really like heavy bass, this is one of the strongest like title themes in the Metroid series. And I'm also again really glad that I had an opportunity to bring some Metroid on RPG Fan. Every once in a while it comes up. I did it once on Retro Encounter. As for the game, you know, I was one of those people, as big of a Metroid fan as I was, like it was very hard for me to accept the idea of them doing a first person one. I was like, I don't play first person shooters, but man, I really grew to love it. I think they somehow really pulled off the right like feeling in this, even though it was 3D. But your introduction to all of that starts with this title theme, even though it's pretty different from a lot of the music like in the series and the game. Like most of the game does have like what Metroid is known for, like the really like mood setting, you know, ambiance and environmental sounds. But I think it does a really good job at just like getting you pumped to play this game. And so what do you guys think?
Yeah, I also love Metroid, and it's one of Nintendo's like most mood heavy franchises. Like they really are like making artistic choices to like make you feel the loneliness and like the creepiness of it. And the title, like you said, the title themes of all the games are always like really dark. And like Super Metroid, you have like the opening scene where like the scientists are like lying there dead on the title theme on the title screen. But this one, I mean, like Metroid Prime, I think is like very quietly one of the greatest games ever made. Like, you know, at the time it came out, it was like mind blowing for people, and then like it's still like it's still held up, and that's why like since the remaster came out, like people are kind of reevaluating it for how great it always was. I feel like, but yeah, this song is. Yeah, also really incredible. Like I wrote in my notebook squiggly. Like it feels very squiggly and like squirmy. This kind of like worm sound effect in your brain. Mm-hmm. and like it does like make you feel like a Metroid. Like it's like this like kind of little biotic thing that's kind of creepy and getting inside your brain. I'm really partial to the theme that follows the title screen, like the file select. So you go from the main screen to the file select, and it kind of gets a little more like rhythmic and like melodic at the same time.
Yeah.
The one that goes. Na, 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 na.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Do. It has like the Terminator kind of like drums along with that.
Cool.
Yeah, like I love that theme especially, but like Prime has like just a lot of great like both atmospheric pieces and like just listenable pieces. But yeah, great soundtrack and great pick.
Thank you.
Yeah. What I like about that why this song is here in our playlist is like it's like it adds some range. It makes it clear like Nintendo isn't all about the Mario, Kirby, Fire Emblem. Like they're also capable of like these atmospheric, moody pieces, and often abrasive. Like in Metroid's case, like there's a lot of themes in Metroid Prime that have like that feel like the adjective I had in my head was like scrapey. Like it's like they're scraping at you at your head or something. And I find it cool that Metroid has this like different texture compared to all the other franchises that Nintendo has. So yeah, I also think this title theme is like one of the greats. Like it's one of the most memorable, iconic ones, for sure. So yeah.
Yeah, despite not having played the Prime series, I'm a massive fan of the 2D entries. But what I hadn't really listened to this soundtrack much before, but I mean, just listening to you guys like big it up, I mean, I think I might have to go and buy the game like right after this podcast. But what I have in my notes is that like that sort of scrambled sort of noise that you're getting across. I think there's always that moment in a Metroid game where like Samus loses her powers, and I always feel like as a player at that moment, you feel like everything's like sort of falls apart a bit, and like the mental state of the player is quite like all over the place. And I feel it's quite emblematic of that. And I think like that's always really powerful in a game where like the music itself sort of like sets the tone for how you're feeling at the time when it all like sort of clicks. Another thing I sort of had written down was like maybe this is more common in the Prime games. I'm not, again, they're not really my area of expertise, but all the 2D Metroid games, a lot of the tracks they're very quick, they're like fast paced, whereas this sort of is like it's quite a slow track for the Metroid series, and it's sort of like I think it almost enhances that sort of feeling of sort of like isolation and sort of like being hunted kind of thing. I think it's quite like you're being watched almost.
Yeah, Prime has a lot of, you're right, like Prime has a lot of like slow atmospheric pieces, like the winter themes that Mike mentioned, like something with a P, Drift, right, is a great track. But
Fendrana, yeah.
Fendrana, yeah, that's a great song. But then like when you get into combat, it does like the rhythm comes in, right, and like the drums come in, and it becomes like this heart racing kind of track. They're really good at balancing both.
Yeah. I mean, in general, but I think this is one of their stronger ones. But I'm glad you pointed out like that feeling of isolation, Tom, because I think that's so important to the series. But yeah, I mean, like I think Prime and Dread, I mean, most recently, like musically and just the atmosphere of Dread too, like they really like
Dread's soundtrack's
like it's
fantastic.
I mean, obviously in Dread you have the Emmy running around too, but even without that, it's like it. Sometimes I was like, I'm afraid to go to the next room, just because of the vibe and the music and all that. Like it really sets a tone, and Prime does have some of that too.
With how vertical Metroid has always been, like I get so anxious, like you just jump down the world's largest elevator shaft, and like you can just keep falling down and down and down. I hate that feeling in a Metroid game of just like, oh, I'm really far from the save room. I'm gonna have to climb all the way back up here if I do make it out. Like every Metroid game gives me that feeling, and like this Prime has like those giant elevators that you ride right from area to area. But yeah, it's a great game.
It does also have some tall rooms though that you're like, I hope I don't miss this jump. I missed the jump.
Yeah. Oh my god! If like I need that double jump. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And we're going to end here with something in our coverage again. Not exactly new to the show, although we haven't featured as much Mario RPG music on Rhythm Encounter as one might think over the years. And we've only had a couple from the remake. But I adore this song, The Fight Against Smithy. It's a really solid example of how great of a remake this is, how it's so true to the original. So it's one of those ones like, oh, well, that it almost makes you think like that's how the original looked, right? Like that's how you remember it if you played it a long time ago. And the music too, like it doesn't drastically change things, but it's just the instrumentation on this is such an upgrade. Like I listened to it, this version, and I'm like, all right, yeah, this is a great song. I love this battle theme. And then I went back and listened to the original, and like, what a difference. And I enjoy 16-bit music. I like the original and all that. So I never listened to the original game thinking it's like, well, this would be good, but it just feels a little compressed. And maybe if they had more, we didn't have that at the time. Like it was what it was, and it was great. And the original is still great. But being able to have, Yoko Shimomura's music here, like hear it again with like, I don't know if these are real instruments. They seem real instruments to me, but just the clarity and the pronounced bass and everything. It's so powerful and really punchy. It's like I said, it's so true to the original and very recognizable. It doesn't sound different. It just sounds cleaner and better. It just really fun. The whole soundtrack, I think, really encapsulates that, like just enhancing things without, changing your memories or your nostalgia, I guess. But I enjoyed it a lot.
Yoko Shimomura is the GOAT, I think.
Yes.
She easily appears on almost every Rhythm Encounter episode, I find. Like she's just always worming her way into our ears. But this song, I think I said before, like I've never played Mario RPG through to the end, but I should give it a fair shake, like on my TV, not handheld, so I can like appreciate the music more. This song reminded me of like that classic Bach song that people know from like when you picture like Dracula, you hear this like organ like right. Toccata and Fugue in D minor is the name of the song. I had to look it up. I googled what's the Dracula song, and it reminded me of that, like a classic villain theme. But then it like gets into this like really fast-paced, frenetic kind of Shimomura style battle, right? Like so, I thought it was a lot of fun. Really fun. Like, and it's the final boss theme. Is that right?
I mean, I guess so. I wasn't going to say that because someone here is new to the game, but whatever.
Oh, I don't even know if that's true now. I forget what I said.
It's a boss theme.
Great boss theme. Yep. Yeah, but a lot of fun. I really liked it.
Yeah, so as Mike sort of hinted at there, I'm playing for it for the first time at the moment, so I haven't actually.
Tom, I'm sorry.
That's all right. No. I mean, it's quite clear from early on, like that Smithy's probably going to be the final boss. Yeah. So it's all right. But I haven't got to this bit yet. But I will say that, like, every song in this game is fantastic. Like you're sitting there, like just like headbanging, like bopping along. It is like a real good time. And I think as well, what I quite like about the Mario RPG songs is that the combat itself is not rhythm based as such, but it's like there's like the mechanic of like sort of like parrying and stuff like that. And I feel like it fits in quite well with like all the music in the game. And so you're going along and you're timing the beats with different things, and it's I've really enjoyed the game so far. But this sounds like probably one of the best of the bunch that I've heard from the game so far. But again, has a really fantastic soundtrack. I think it is probably the standout part of the game for me so far, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed out the combat, where not rhythmic, but the timing. I don't know if there was a game that did that before Mario RPG, because nowadays any game that has that, I always see it described as like, oh yes, it's like Mario RPG. So as far as I know, they pioneered that, that kind of thing, or at least really made it prominent and popular in a turn-based game, because that was not really done before. And of course, I'm playing Claire Obscure right now, which really, really leans in on that kind of thing, like to the point where there's like, they keep introducing new ones. It's like you can dodge and you can parry. Oh, but also there's a jump and counter. So it's like, yeah, a lot of like timed button presses. So yes, anyway, that's all. Again, if someone knows of a game that did it before Mario RPG, I don't know, but I think it's really influenced a lot of great games since then. So I'm glad that happened.
I just find it like, I can't help but think like, a lesser composer would have like, when they were like assigned to make this song, it would never have been as interesting as what Shimomura did here. Like because like when we think of like a rhythmic battle themes, like they're not always the best, because like there's no melody, like there's nothing to like really follow. But the little, I don't know how to describe it, but like the things she does with the organ, with like the bass in this song is like, only a master would think of that. I think it's like, it seems simple, it seems like, oh, anyone could do it, but no, only someone like her could think of composing a song like this in this style. So yeah, I'm just constantly impressed every time I listen to Shimomura. Like I'm always hearing something new, or like seeing things from a different angle, because she's just so good with the details. So
right.
It's the range too. It's like everything she touches is gold, and it's like you can tell it's her pretty much purely on like the quality of it, but it's like the breadth of what she has composed is like amazing already, and like she's still like, she's in the peak of her career still,
Yeah, it's there are composers, some, I mean, I don't have any examples, I'm not like pigeonholing anyone, but it's like, there are people like, you can think of like, oh, well, like this person's really good at piano, or like really like emotional themes, or people that we love for like their battle themes or something more high energy. And I'm like, she does all of this, I think of her like the kind of stuff she does in Kingdom Hearts, like the really soft emotional themes and the battle music, and then what she did in Final Fantasy 15 and Mario. I'm like, just the range and
Street
scope
Fighter.
of what she's done. Street Fighter, absolutely incredible. Yeah. I mean, when I played this in 1995 or maybe it was 96, I didn't know any of that. I didn't know composers enough to know what was going on. I'm like, yeah, this is fun music. But I look back at it now and I'm thinking, it's like, wow, they got her for this. This is one of those things that I didn't think would have ever happened. Like it didn't occur to me like, oh, this is something that may happen one day. And now there's like how many, Mario RPGs. It's pretty incredible.
Now every time they have like two weird companies merging, it's like Disney and Square Enix. Like, let's call Shimomura.
Yeah.
She's easy to rely on.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that does it for our unexpectedly long episode, but it's because we had so much fun things to talk about today. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for your great song picks and your insights. This was so much fun. As our new person to the show, of course, Tom will be introducing a bonus track at the end here. But first, we have some housekeeping stuff to cover. On this episode, we had 5 debut for Rhythm Encounter, although I'm not going to count the stuff outside of our coverage. So as far as RPG coverage, this was the first episode with Fire Emblem Engage. So thank you, Gio, for making sure we still had a debut on the show.
Yay.
I feel like with how much music is in Fire Emblem, that will not be the last time. So maybe we'll get some more Engage in the future. Coming up next on Rhythm Encounter, we are doing Hillary and I are going to do another new music episode. We've been doing those since the beginning of the year. We're covering the spring, basically, of 2025. I realize when you listen to this, it's mid-July, but that's okay. So I can't think of anything notable that came out in that time frame. Maybe something like Clair Obscur, Blueprints. I imagine those will feature on that episode, but we'll see what else comes up. So please look forward to that. We've been having a lot of fun with these new music episodes, just because it's a good way of getting current stuff on the show, what might not make it otherwise in a themed episode. After that, I think I can say this now, since we have recorded and it has finally happened. We're doing our second episode with composer, musician Sean Shafiansky. We did an episode with him years and years ago, but he's been releasing a ton of music since last year. So we talked to him a few weeks ago, and we have some highlights from some of his recent albums, Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Cross, and some other ones. So be on the lookout for that. We had a really great time with talking to him, and he has released a lot of great stuff, but also has some more things coming out. In fact, I'll mention it now because there's no room on that episode. But between us recording that and now, he's actually announced a Final Fantasy I remastered album, and it sounds really good. So check that out too. If you enjoyed this episode, if you want to share some of your favorite Nintendo themes, or if you want to see another similar episode in the future, maybe we can do a Sega one or a Sony one. You can reach us and me at music@rpgfan.com. So let us know your thoughts. If people want to reach you, Matt, what is the best way?
I am unreachable, but you can read my writing on mattwardellwrites.wordpress.com. If you like science fiction short stories, I've got a bunch of stuff up there.
I do like science fiction short stories.
Yay.
All right. How about you, Gio?
Oh, yeah. You can reach me on Discord. I'm 10bstar, TENBI star there. Or you can email me at gio@rpgfan.com.
All right. And Tom?
Rather like Matt, I'm pretty unreachable, to be honest. But again, you can read my stuff over on the site.
You don't have to be reachable.
Check
That's fine.
There.
People can comment on this episode on RPG Fan if they have something they want to say to any of us. So you can do that too. If you enjoyed Rhythm Encounter, we are, of course, not the only podcast on the RPG Fan Podcast Network. We also have Random Encounter, podcast about recent RPG news, reviews, events. Recently we've been talking about, last month anyway, we talked about Summer Game Fest and other new games. We're recording this one just enough in advance. I don't know what the previous or next Random Encounter will be, but I'm sure it will be good. I know as of this recording, we recently had an episode about Deltarune and Raidu Remastered, so you can go check that out. So think about what games are out at this time of year and what other things are happening, and that's probably what Random Encounter will be talking about. Over on Retro Encounter, this is a very, very rare time where the next two episodes of Retro Encounter I am on, so I can definitely talk about them. In fact, Matt too. Matt, myself, and Zach have been talking about Breath of Fire 2. That is our next game journal that debuts later this week on Retro Encounter, and then I think the next one will be a couple weeks after that. So we've been having a time with that. I'm playing the game for like maybe the third time in my life, and you're playing for the first time. And we've been having a lot of good conversation about it, about what does and doesn't hold up to someone who's nostalgic or someone who's playing it for the first time.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I think it'll be a fun listen for new players and people that have never touched it before.
Yeah.
I just said the same thing. Old players and new players.
I knew what you meant though. Yeah. And weirdly enough, to sort of tie it into our Nintendo themed episode, Breath of Fire 1 and 2 are available on Switch Online. So if you listen to those and enjoy it, at least it's easy to access the games. You can find RPG Fan on most social media as RPG Fan or RPG Fan.com. You'll find those links in our show notes. We also are on Twitch and YouTube. We have a Discord. Our website is rpgfan.com, where you'll find news, reviews, features. We posted a lot of really cool features lately. We had our Canadian developer feature. We have a Saga Frontier 2 interview that went up recently. So yeah, lots of good stuff on the site. So of course we would love to have you there and reading RPG Fan. Also on RPG Fan, lastly, you will find our shop. You can find RPG Fan merch, mugs and phone cases and pillows and baby onesies. I always have to mention the baby onesies because they actually do sell. So I think it really entertains me. Yeah, so RPG Fan merch there, and our book with Hyperplay RPG, the RPG Fan review card collection, which collects about 300 of our Instagram review cards in a printed book. You can find all of this, links to all of these things at rpgfan.com/shop. Finally, if you enjoyed this episode, you can review us or subscribe or comment, whatever you want to do to interact and support and thumbs up and heart and like on wherever it is you get your podcast. We would appreciate it. And that's it. We're going to close out with a bonus track from Tom. I'm going to pretend I don't know what it is, except I know what it is, and it's exciting, and it's a great pick. So, Tom, what are we ending the show with?
Yeah, I appreciate it's been quite a long podcast, so I'll keep it short and sweet, but this is probably one of my favourite soundtracks from the Legend of Zelda series, which is the Dragon Roost Island theme song by, I believe, Kenta Nagata. It's a bit difficult to find out exactly who composed and wrote this song, so apologies if I got that wrong, but yeah, one of my absolute favourites from the Zelda series. I think it perfectly encapsulates the sort of the sea vibe of like the ship sailing vibe of the Wind Waker. It feels very much like an old sort of shanty song. So yeah,
I love it. Definitely one of my favorite songs in Wind Waker. So I'm happy it's here. All right. Well, thank you again, everyone. Tom, great job on your first episode. It was great to have you. I'm going to say great a bunch more times before I listen to this in the editing room and wish I hadn't. But yeah, I mean, please come back. All of you, come back anytime. This was a lot of fun. I hope everyone enjoyed listening. We're going to leave you with Dragon Roost Island, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye, everyone.
Bye. their two audiences are like the children that I'm talking about that just want to play the new stuff, and like they love the new Pokemon too. That's another like popular game, like Sword and Shield and like Scarlet Violet. Like kids will talk about that to me, and I'm like, do you know Gold? What about Gold? And they're like, what are you talking about?